Suppose I should check Canvas right about now. Okay. What's this? Due Monday. Budget. Oh, drat. Flippy, you in there? Not again. Flippy, wake up! I need your help!
Hey, girlfriend, what's up?
Look, I know this is kind of sudden, but I've got a project due Monday on harbor seal evolutionary history. I need your help ASAP.
I see. Give me 5 minutes.
Okay, Flip, help me out. How much do you know about harbor seal evolutionary history?
Enough for a video, I should hope.
Better be enough for a video. Ready to get started?
Uh-huh.
We should probably start with the basics, right?
Right. This here is a harbor seal, sometimes referred to as the common seal, or in Latin as the Phoca vidumina.
That means calf-like seal, by the way.
I know that, Miss Latin Scholar. Now, as I was saying, this is a harbor seal. They're found throughout the northern hemisphere. Harbor seals belong to a carnivorous, semi-aquatic clade of animals known as pinnipeds. Pinnipeds includes seals, sea lions, and walruses. Okay, I didn't have any actual walruses. I had to make do. Can I take these off now, please? The Pinnipedia clade evolved from the ancestors of mustaloids, which includes red pandas, skunks, badgers, raccoons, and weasels, and also more recently from the ancestors of Ursidae, which include bears. You can see here on this phylogenetic tree that this node here shows the split between Ursidae and Pinnipedia. Sometime later, we see the split off of the families of Otariidae, Odobenidae, and Phocidae. It is Phocidae that we'll be taking a closer look at now. So it appears here that this root represents Phocidae, that there is a split into 2 subfamilies. Yes, there is. This subfamily right here is Monachini. They are Antarctic seal species. Down here is Phocina, which are Arctic and Northern Hemisphere seal species. Harbor seals, down here, fall into the Phocinae category. You can distinguish between the 2 subfamilies by their hind claws, which are larger in Phocinae.
Okay, I think that makes sense. So now we can also see how harbor seals evolved from other seal species.
Exactly. You can deduce roughly when chronologically harbor seals emerge in relation to other members of the Phocinae subfamily if you compare roughly along the x-axis with where they lie. The closer to the root, the earlier they emerged.
Okay, that makes sense. So, looks like harbor seals emerged a bit later than some of the other species.
Yes, you can see here that harbor seals branched off from the common ancestor of Phoca larga, also known as, drumroll please, spotted seals. These species comprise the genus known as Phoca. What's interesting about the 2 species is that the spotted seals, right here, are only found in the Pacific Northern Hemisphere, while harbor seals are found not only in the Pacific Northern Hemisphere, but also farther east as well, but I'll talk more about that later. What's important to know is that for a long time, spotted seals were considered a subspecies of harbor seals rather than a distinct species. It wasn't until around 1977 that spotted seals were accepted as their own separate species.
How do we know that they're different species?
Excellent question. Morphologically, there are some noticeable differences to be found in the skulls of the harbor and spotted seals. Here we have a harbor seal skull in this image. In harbor seals, the skull is more massive, the bullae are more are more flattened and angular, and the premolar teeth of adults are slanted, whereas in spotted seals they are straight. In addition, spotted seals are born with a dense white coat called lanugo. Harbor seals have this coat in the womb but shed it before birth, and this allows them to better thermoregulate in cooler water, even as pups, something that most phokids can't do so early in life. Spotted seals, however, retain their lanugo coat even after birth. So, as I mentioned earlier, the ancestors of the pinniped clade are those of mustaloids and ursidae. Like their modern descendants, these creatures were land-dwelling and carnivorous or omnivorous, and likely walked on four legs. Over time, individuals of these species were born with webbed feet, which allowed them to live on land and in water as pinnipeds do today. One particular fossil that acts as evidence for transition towards cohabitation in water and on land is Pugila, which is believed to have resembled an otter and lived in freshwater lakes around 24 million years ago. It's not a direct ancestor of modern pinnipeds, but it's considered by scientists to be a transition species that illustrates the evolution of land to marine animal. Fully flipper pinnipeds did not appear until around 17 million years ago on the coast of what is now Washington and Oregon in the United States.
Okay, so how did harbor seals come out from that?
I was about to pivot to that. You're impossible. As previously stated, harbor seals and spotted seals are classified under the Phoca genus, which originated in the northeastern Pacific Ocean. At an as of now unknown period, Phoca diverged into two separate species, harbor seals and spotted seals, both of which inhabited areas of the Northeast Pacific. Harbor seal species dispersal occurred when certain populations migrated east via the Canadian Arctic and colonized areas in the northern Atlantic. Studies have shown that Atlantic harbor seals are less genetically diverse than those from the Pacific.
Because of allopatric speciation by dispersal, I assume.
Yes. The Atlantic Ocean acts as a natural barrier that prevents seals in the Atlantic from easily migrating back to their Pacific Ocean origin, or Pacific harbor seals from joining their Atlantic counterparts in the east. Harbor seals are also rather philopatric, meaning they tend to remain at or near a particular site or area, which would probably further limit genetic diversity amongst future harbor seal generations.
Okay, I think I get it. I still have a couple more questions, though. Like, why are harbor seals so well adapted to their environments? I mean, if they're able to adapt to so many different areas, why?
I think I can answer that for you. Let me show you. For starters, seals and other pinnipeds in general are very well adapted to aquatic life, while being able to survive on land for significant periods of time. Our streamlined bodies and flippers, which help with propulsion, make us strong swimmers. We also have layers of fat beneath our skin called blubber, which help us thermoregulate and survive in a variety of temperatures. As for harbor seals specifically, we're able to hold our breaths underwater for up to an hour. And we can also dive up to 250 meters. We've also adapted to bright light, low light, and our eyes are able to see in deeper and darker waters. Though our most important sensory organ is our whiskers. They're very sensitive, you see. So they detect vibrations in the water, which come from other objects underwater, and so we can determine the size of those objects and roughly where they are. This helps us find food and avoid predators. It's pretty cool, Flip. Speaking of food, we're not that picky and we'll eat whatever is in season. Locally, that is. That's one of the major factors that allowed us to be so widespread and adaptive. And our bodies are rather small, so we don't have large energy requirements.
Sounds like being a harbor seal sounds pretty good, Flip.
Well, it's not all sunshine and oysters. We've got predators that come after us. Orcas, sharks, sea lions, wolves, bears, coyotes, and eagles too. We have to be early developed at birth, and we have to swim within an hour and can only feed off our mother's milk for 4 to 6 weeks before we have to be weaned off and fend for ourselves. When we're on the shore, we stay isolated from terrestrial predators and ocean ones too. And in the water, we're mostly solitary. And sometimes, because of overfishing, we have to travel to 30 miles, even into fresh water, to find food. And humans, well, they have a tendency to do construction and make loud noise. So they scare us sometimes, and we feel the need to leave our haul out spots and go away. Sometimes mothers leave their pups behind in the rush to leave. Look, that's awful. And some areas don't even have legislation to protect us from hunting, so it's just, yeah, awful. Flippy, come here.
Sometimes I don't feel proud that I'm a human.
It's okay, girlfriend. You're okay. You have a heart. Besides, we are pretty strong. We're not critically endangered, and if we manage to adapt so well to the various environments around the northern hemisphere, we can adapt more.
I'm sure you can, Flip.